lobbyists or too much compromise from Democrats or Russian hacking. The biggest threat to our democracy is indifference.
John Dean, the former White House counsel to President Richard Nixon, is warning against Senate confirmation of Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
He would have the Congress immunize sitting presidents from both civil and criminal liability. Under Judge Kavanaugh's recommendation, if a president shot somebody in cold blood on Fifth Avenue, that president could not be prosecuted while in office.
Democrats have complained that they've been unable to adequately vet Kavanaugh because his records have been withheld. Confirmation hearings have just ended. Apple is one of the companies that says the president's proposal to expand tariffs on Chinese-made items will hurt its business. President threatened new China tariffs while aboard Air Force One today.
We've taxed them $50 billion, that's on technology. Now we've added another $200 billion. And I hate to say this, but behind that, there's another $267 billion ready to go on short notice if I want.
On Wall Street, the Dow closed down today, 79 points, S&P down 6, and the Nasdaq down 20. I'm Mike Moss.
As realtors, we won't stop until you own the house you've always wanted. But owning the house means owning up to what you really want. So go ahead. Own that these pinewood floors are the closest you'll ever come to camping. Own that you want a foyer, just so you can say, foyer. Own that you want a vegetable garden, even if the only thing that grows there is your sense of inadequacy. It's time to own what you want. So get someone who gets what you want. Get Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
Tesla stock took a sharp downturn today after Elon Musk was seen taking a hit of marijuana on a podcast.
It was during a live YouTube taping of Joe Rogan's podcast, actually near the end of a nearly 2+ hour conversation, that the electric car maker CEO was seen taking a hit off a marijuana joint and drinking whiskey.
I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things? There's tobacco and marijuana in there. That's all it is.
The stock plummeted as much as 10% after that for a time. This also on the word that the company's chief accounting officer quit, and the SEC opening an inquiry about Musk's aborted go-private deal. Calls into Tesla for comment have not been returned. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
Federal prosecutors say a Russian hacker accused of the biggest theft yet of consumer data from a U.S. financial institution has been extradited from the country of Georgia to the United States. Andrei Tyurin faces charges of engaging in securities manipulation and fraud. I'm Mike Moss.
At Fidelity, we believe nothing should come between you and your money. So we're introducing zero account fees. All because we want you to invest with zero trade-offs. Visit fidelity.com/value to learn more. Zero account minimums and zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Expenses charged by investments such as funds and managed accounts and for commissions, interest charges, or other expenses for transactions may still apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-318-4349 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-318-4349. Again, that's 800-318-4349.
Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Planning. Everybody talks about it. We plan for the future, right? You even go as far, conservatives listening to the Kevin Jackson Show, you go as far as to plan for the future of your kids. Not just your future. You're like, no, I want my kids to be this, that, and the other. And you may even live vicariously through some of them. Oh, my, I want to be a Major League Baseball
We
player.
interrupt this regularly scheduled program.
Just kidding. No, actually, we're not kidding. We are interrupting. This is Prepper Talk Radio, segment 2.
Hour 2. Now, we, as you know, if you listen to us regularly, that we typically only do 1 hour. And last week we did an hour. Week before we did 2 hours. So we're kind of transitioning into 2 hours. And our station manager apparently did not program in our second hour here like she did 2 weeks ago.
Okay for now.
That is okay because we have no commercial breaks for this next hour.
No commercial breaks at all?
Well, we'd have to
We'll
go
just time it with the radio.
We could time it with the radio if we feel like we need a potty
Time it
break
with the
or
recording.
something, right?
We'll figure it out. We'll totally figure it out. Well, the cool thing is, we're preppers. So
That's
if we
right.
make mistakes, we just overcome and adapt and keep moving forward. And you, the listeners, especially those who are trying to be prepared, you'll understand that, and you can learn from our bad experience and what we broadcast, right? So that is a good learning opportunity. So
Amen,
stay
brother.
tuned, strap in. It's going to get a little bumpy, but we're gonna run for another hour.
That's true. It might be a little bumpy. But I guess to kind of start out, we wanted to wrap up our discussion with our buddy Tim Ralston. And Tim really is a fantastic guy. We congratulate him for his recent engagement. We're very happy for him. We know that's very important to him to have a family life, and that's why he's at where he's at. We'd love for him to move up here with us and join our team. But
we even
that'd be
talked about it
selfish.
for a while. I
That's
was even
selfish
going to
of
help
us.
him find a place, but
Mhm.
you know what? He's got to be where he needs to be, and I'm excited for him. It's always a fun chapter in life, and he's just a good guy. Really knows his stuff, and it's funny because people sometimes will call me an expert, and I cringe. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm like
too
the
with that,
super
yeah.
excited aficionado of prepping. Like I am the passionate prepper that wants to help other people be better prepared. And I'm always trying to quote the people that know. I'm always trying to find the right resources. I know a lot more than the average guy because I've had the opportunity to be shoved into this situation. And I think the same you would concur the same for
Yeah,
yourself.
absolutely. And I would like to think that our expertise is not necessarily in any particular topic, in any particular skill, but overall and I'm thinking this out
breadth
as
of knowledge.
as
Breadth.
we're talking
Yeah.
in the breadth and width, but also in maybe in the interpretation, in the like you say, like you're just saying that we are about as energized as it gets when it comes to prepping and helping others, and I think that's maybe where our expertise lies, if you want to call it that.
Our expertise is getting listeners involved, getting the audience engaged in the beauty and necessity of preparedness. Because the goal is if we can help you be better prepared, you'll have less to fear about, and you'll have a higher chance of survival and thriving.
And I think we should maybe figure out how to do something to record, to be the fly on the wall and record our conversations outside the show.
I know.
Because they are. I don't know. I don't want to.
We're all over the place.
We're all over the place, but we've got such big plans and ideas that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
We have so many. Our desires are so big and so large that we want to do more, but of course, we have to.
We're
live in the real world.
Constrained by the economic situation of being a lowly talk radio show.
And having a family and having a mortgage and
doing it for
having
free.
to pay bills and not being able to live off grid and no more excuses. No excuses. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing and continue to try and do better at it.
I laugh that you say and not being able to live off grid. Soon there'll be a time where we have to live off grid, and that's going to be
Let's talk about that for a second here.
All right.
It was kind of how we warmed up the segment here when we were having some issues with getting Tim online. We were talking a little bit about where we are right now in the whole scheme of, what do you want to call it? The end of the world if you know it, the financial collapse, the reset, whatever
you want to call it the end of the world.
We're getting ready for
For what? Oh, for SHTF, right?
SHTF.
SHTF. Okay, yeah, whatever.
It hasn't hit the fan yet, but the fan's blowing, and someone's got their hand up, holding it, ready to fling it at the fan.
And I think that's truly the state of where we're at, is that unless your eyes are wide open and you're looking and spending a lot of time interpreting, because not a lot of these things are easy to understand or what's going on.
Well, and even there's so many rabbit holes that you could go down in and outside of the world of prepping, because you can't go very far into preparedness without beginning to subscribe to conspiracy theories, right? You can't go down the world of prepping very far without realizing I need more skills and training and knowledge and expertise in a broader array of things.
Feeling that there's some lacking there, a void you need to fill.
It's like those pop top cans, like the ravioli, right? You pop it, and then you start peeling it back, and you get more and more exposure to whatever's in that can, right? That's what prepping's like. It's that little, and then you start peeling back, and then all of a sudden you have this whole can of kick butt that you can now devour.
Raviolis aren't very appetizing.
I love ravioli.
What about the SpaghettiOs?
SpaghettiOs, Garbageos, whatever. Whatever, and you can have vegetables that have the same pop top can, right? The top.
At least they'll last for a long time, right? In your food storage.
But you can look at prepping the same way. It's like you pop it and there's a little bit and you can't close it ever again.
No, that's true.
And
you have to eat it all.
You either have to open it and eat it or let it spoil. And I'm hoping that you guys, the listeners, are opening and eating it, because that's what happens to us. Is like we just start to devour these things, and we have conversations off the air that are like all over the place. But the reality is, each and every one of us has an ability to take care of ourselves, and hopefully you have a drive to do that. And as you do that, and as you start waking up to what's going on, and you're waking up to the real situation, you are then guilty of your own future if you don't do something about it. It is your fault if you don't survive and if you don't thrive through what's going on. But it's also your fault if you're not helping your family, your friends, your neighbors, right? So we all have kind of a responsibility to help build and strengthen the team, if you will, of humanity.
And we're responsible for the here and now as well, which is the one thing that keeps us from doing the other thing, right?
Right.
So, as one of the things I mentioned at in the first hour, the beginning of the first hour, is, the question is, when is this all going to happen? When is this all going to come down? When is the system going to collapse? And like I said, and I truly believe this, when is now?
Explain that a little bit better, because the system hasn't collapsed yet. And you say, when is now? Well, it hasn't collapsed yet, so it can't be now.
And it is difficult to explain. I mean, it's very difficult. It's very complex, and so I'll try and do it as simply as I can.
Just be prepared. I may argue on
No, absolutely. Please do. And that helps me to cement my beliefs and my opinions as well. But, looking back to the previous collapse, say 2007, 2008, right? That there were certain things that people who were looking, experts who were looking, who were not denying what was going on, saw what was coming.
Well, they warned us too.
And they warned us. And most people, I'm generalizing here, most financial advisors, most economists, whatever, they said, "Oh, this was unforeseeable. You couldn't, and not to pigeonhole this into a financial realm, because it's much larger than that. But essentially, there are signs that if you're looking, if you're watching, and if you know truth, you have to know truth, and you have to know history, and you have to know certain things to see the difference between what's normal and what's abnormal. What's normal now was completely abnormal even a decade ago, or 20 or 30, 40 years ago. Things are changing, and that's not necessarily good. Of course, everybody kind of interprets or says, oh, we're progressing, right? Things are changing for the better. That's not necessarily the case. And if you take that mindset, if you are aware and you have learned history and have at least had some experience in seeing what happened the previous collapse and the so-called recovery and such, that you can kind of start to see what's been happening now, what has been happening for a long time, and what even more immediately in the past month or two has really started to happen. So when I say, when is this going to happen? When is now? Things are happening.